Today's lesson is going to be quick and easy, especially because the vocabulary is what we already know. The first, we're talking about comparing decimals, so that means we're going to find the differences and similarities between decimals. The vocabulary, the first one we're going to talk about is more than. Usually we talk about more than in a couple different ways. We might say that 3 is 2 more than 1, which means that 2 plus 1 equals 3. And we could also do that another way by saying, we can ask the question, what is 2 more than 7? Which we would obviously get is 9, because 2 plus 7 is 9. It gets a little bit more complicated when we're talking about decimals, but we'll get into that in a little bit. Along the same lines, we can talk about less than, which is right here. We can say what, or a question might be, what is 70 less than 100? And that would give us 100 minus 70 equals 30. In that way, we understand more than and less than. Greater than is along the same lines of more than. We can ask which number is 17 greater than 8? Which obviously, yes, it is. If we have some numbers like 1 and 0.5 and 0.1, we know when we're looking for the greatest number, it's 1. And we're looking for the least number, it's 0.1. So therefore, this list of 1, 0.5 or 5/10 and 1/10 is in the order greatest to least. So how can we use this vocabulary with decimals? Here is an example. The question says, what is 1/10 more than 1/6? 6/10. So here in the model, in the drawing, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have tenths, which is what this decimal is talking about. The dark orange is 6, and we're going to add 1/10 more than that. On the number line, we say the same thing. Here is 1/6. We go 1/10 more, and we get 7/10. So 7/10 is 1/10 more than 6/10. And the other vocabulary, less than, we can do the same thing. Here is a model of 1 and 6/10, which is this decimal here. And we want to know what is 1/10 less than 1 and 6/10. If we go to the number line, we're looking between 1 and 2, the whole numbers. We have 1 and 6/10 here. We're looking at less than, so making the numbers smaller, 1 and 6/10. We go lower by 1/10. We get 1 5/10 is 1/10 less than 1 6/10. We can also do the same thing with hundredths. So in this model, we have 22 hundredths. This line is 10. This line, sorry, my arrow, this line is 10 more, so we have 10, 22. 22 hundredths. What is 1/100th more than 22 hundredths? We're just going to go up one space to 23 hundredths. We can explain this. Each part is 1/100th. So we just have to move up one square. And the same with less than. We move down one space, or we take away one square. So this is 18 hundredths. 1 less than 18 hundredths is 17 hundredths. So now let's go ahead and try a few problems using this vocabulary. Let's start with number 1. What number is 1/10 more than 1 2/10? Up on the number line that I have here, we have a 0 and we have a 1. So we're looking at all the decimals that are between 0 and 1. Is this number line going to be helpful for us in this problem here? We know that it's not, because 1 2/10 is not between 0 and 1, but rather it is between 1 and 2. So here we have 1 2/10, and we want to know what is 1/10 more than that. So we'll look at 1/10 more, and we get 1 3/10. So 1 3/10 is 1/10 more than 1 2/10. We're going to continue now with looking at question number 3. 2/10 more than 8 7/10 is. On our number line up here, what are the whole numbers that we're going to use? What whole number is going to go here, and what whole number is going to go here? We're going to put 8 here and 9 here, because we know that we're talking about 8 7/10. 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, 4/10, 5/10, 6/10, 7/10. This is 8.7. 8 7/10. Let me fix that decimal point. 8 7/10. And we're looking for 2/10 more than 8 7/10. So we're going to add 1/10 and 2/10. We have 8 9/10. So that is how we do the problems of finding more than or less than. The final slide today is about looking at patterns. So we'll go over this really quickly, and you'll practice it in class tomorrow. These decimals, let's read it first. Find the missing number in a pattern. These decimals follow a pattern. What are the next two decimals? So we have 2/10, 4/10, 8/10, 6/10, 8/10, and 1. if we come over to the machine that this little girl is using, excuse me, we can see that in each number they're adding 2/10, plus 2/10, plus 2/10. So if we continue, 1 plus 2/10 is 1 2/10. Excuse me again. So we can see that the next two decimals in this pattern are 1 2/10 and 1 4/10. This is using the vocabulary more than, because each number is 2/10 more than the number before. In this problem down here at the bottom, we have 1 32 hundredths, 1 32 hundredths, 1 27 hundredths, 1 22 hundredths, 1 17 hundredths, 1 12 hundredths. And we can tell in this decimal machine that this little boy is using, he's subtracting 5 hundredths from each number to get the next number. So he is using the vocabulary less than to describe the pattern. And if we use that calculation, we'll see that 1 12 hundredths is our starting point, and we take away 5 hundredths from that. That means we'll get 0. 12 minus 5 is 7, 0 minus 0, 1 7 hundredths, which is what we see right here. 1 7 hundredths is 5 hundredths less than 1 12 hundredths. And if we subtract 5 hundredths again from 107, we'll get 1 7 hundredths, we'll get 1 2 hundredths. So the next two decimals in the pattern are 1 7 hundredths and then 1 2 hundredths.